Yay, it actually works. Oh, wait, hold on. It says recording dot dot dot. Does that mean that it's going? I think
Yeah, it's recording.
okay, hi guys. It's Sophie here of Raw Girl in
Hey,
a Toxic World. And I have a guest.
Talia here at Paparoxi.com.
Yeah. And today we want to talk about two things. It might end up being more than two things, we'll see. That we eliminated to stay ageless. Clea,
Yeah.
you want to talk about?
And this is in like our personal lives, what we did.
Yes.
Just to give it
Clea, do you want to start?
Sure. So I'll start with the first thing I eliminated. And these are I'm very trial and error. I know if any of you guys watched the Victoria Moran webinar, she talked about how she's trial and error. So I'm definitely like one of those, like, let me try this and see if it works or not. So one of the things I eliminated was hard alcohol. So it's funny because I would always have cocktails with like vodka or rum or different things in them, especially like when I went on vacation. Not a lot during the week, unless I went to like a happy hour event or went out, with a friend or something. But I noticed that a lot of the people who had watched over the years who were drinking hard alcohol, they had different lines in their face and different changes. And I started doing a lot of research about the effect of alcohol on your body. And I noticed that a lot of people who had drank alcohol for a really long time, especially hard alcohol, had a lot of terminal illnesses or negative effects to their health. And so what I did was I did a little detox for like 21 days. I juiced raw fruits and vegetables for 21 days. And I started out just not having hard alcohol anymore. And I really haven't turned back. I definitely noticed that, I don't get as tired as I used to. Like I'll go out and maybe have a glass of wine, but it doesn't affect me the way hard alcohol would. And then I also would get like the munchies or whatever when I was out. So I'd have a couple drinks and I would be like trying to eat everything. And so I don't get that. I feel like my metabolism is a little bit more balanced. So yeah, that's my first tip, was to eliminate hard alcohol. That made a huge, huge change. I also follow, I don't know if you follow Sosa, Tracy Anderson. She has awesome like exercise, like empire.
I
But
don't, but
she has a lot of articles out there.
everybody seems to be doing her thing, but I don't follow her.
Okay, she has a bunch of good articles too. I've read about how she really encourages her celebrity clients to stay away from alcohol. So yeah, that was my thing.
Awesome. Yeah, so I already eliminated meat and dairy very early. I think the biggest thing was eliminated packaged and processed foods. So, because I already didn't drink alcohol at all, really. The only alcohol that I like experimented with occasionally was wine, but even then it was very, very rare. Like people would be really surprised if they saw me drinking wine. So alcohol wasn't a thing for me because I was aware that, and I think part of what you were talking about with like people looking older as well is like the damage to the liver is real. And because it damages organs that remove toxins from the body, it makes sense that over time, like the more alcohol you drink, the less toxins can be like sort of shuttled out of the body, which would then in turn make you look old. So, didn't do the alcohol, but I did eliminate like processed foods. And that included, I used to eat a lot of vegan, like also even vegan processed foods. I used to even eat like a lot of like fake sausages, a lot of soy. I still eat tofu
Yeah.
from time to time, like at a Thai restaurant, but not like I try not to do it very often. And I probably should be asking them if the soy is GMO or not, and when I do, but I sometimes I don't. So yeah, I used to have a lot of tofu, and that would really mess with my cycle. And then also I had like, those fake sausages, the fake meats, the fake cheese, all of that vegan stuff. I just stopped eating it. And I actually found,
That's what I was talking to someone about that on my Insta stories today, because a lot of people had questions, and I was like, those things that suck. I don't like how they make my body feel,
Well,
so I definitely relate.
here's the thing about those packaged things. So I can totally empathize with anybody who's trying to transition to vegan. And if you've been a meat eater, sometimes it feels like there's this huge void in your diet and you just feel like you need something that's similar to meat. So sometimes those things, I guess, help people. Like, there's, I don't know if you've seen it, it's kind of gross, but there's a veggie burger now that like bleeds, and they even impersonated the taste of like the blood taste that you get when you cook like raw meat, which I just thought was like, okay, well, if you're gonna do all that, you might as well just have a burger though. But
Oh
yeah,
my god.
yeah. I think those things sometimes are very useful, maybe for people right at the beginning of a transition, if they just feel like they're mentally struggling with the idea of not having anything that looks like me, because it's not going to taste like me. They're going to, it's going to taste different, and they're going to be like, this is not the same or whatever. And, there are brands that are good. Like I used to love them Morningstar Farm sausages, girl. I used to eat them.
Those taste so real though. They're so good.
They're so real
like,
that
to me, they taste like real sausage.
yeah, you're like, I don't know. But yeah, at the beginning, those things kind of help. But I would say that the deeper you get into it, I think if you're going to do that, the plan should be to eliminate them or reduce them significantly over time, because at the end of the day, it's just the same as eating other processed food. Because a lot of these soy products, they just have so many fillers in them, so much stuff. So when I went raw, no more processed food. And then my other sort of like rules were I didn't want to eat things out of a can or out of a package. Now, I kind of still eat a few things out of a can, like organic, something canned might happen, but very rarely. And then packaged stuff, I don't do any like I'm thinking about it, and like really the only things that I eat that are packaged are things that are like those things in the raw section, or some vegan treats like Larabars or things that are already sort of raw in a package I'll eat. But all that other stuff like crackers and chips, and I just stay away.
Yeah, those are terrible.
Well, they're tasty. And
I don't want to say they're terrible because I'm like you, when I first was eating plant-based, those helped me so much. But even like last night, so I got back to my vegan diet especially after coming from Guatemala recently and just seeing like the change in our food, I was like, oh my God, I can't eat animal products anymore.
right.
So like last night I even had some tofu noodles, and these were like, this processed thing. It was really late and I wanted some noodles. They only had 10 calories and I was sick all night long because I haven't been having any type of processed foods. So I think because my body is just cleaner now and I've been doing, everything right, I had such a big reaction to that because I haven't been eating like any processed food. So
yeah, see, that's the thing. So what happens is, and that's why like it's good to like clean all that stuff out. And then if you slip up, then your body's going to give you a sign that whatever's in there is not good for you. Like for me, it took me like months to get rid of eating like cocoa bread. I lived in Crown Heights, and I would walk by these bread shops, and that bread would just be calling my name, like the smell, and then the coconut. I don't know if y'all know about cocoa bread, but if you don't know, that stuff is crack. So it would be calling my name or whatever, and I was at the time raw. And so after time doing that, when I would go back and eat it, like I would slip up and feel like I really wanted it, I would just be laid out. It was like the worst thing ever. Or like even now, if I were to go eat like a normal box of crackers or something, I start sneezing right afterwards because my body has an immediate reaction of get whatever this stuff is out because it's not real. So it's a, like you said, it's a good way for people to also start to get a barometer on how clean their food is, because once they cut something out, if you cut it out long enough and then you come back and you have a reaction, okay, there's something in there that my body doesn't like.
Yeah, and to your point, I think it's crazy how long most of us live with like a reaction to something and you don't even know it and you're like, oh wait, like why am I getting sick all the time? Why am I tired all the time? Why am I this or why? And like I had no, like my eyes were opened up and I was like, oh my God, I'm destroying myself. So I'll get to my next thing that I eliminated. And I eliminated a significant amount of oil from my diet. So like using vegetable oil, canola oil, all of those types of oils I eliminated from my diet. I struggle still from time to time, had struggled with acne. And I know, Associate, you have like an awesome book about that. um, but I struggle with that, and that was probably the biggest change that I noticed when I stopped using those types of oils. Now what I use is I'll use organic cold pressed olive oil, or from time to time I'll use coconut oil. Mostly coconut oil is like my beauty regimen for my hair and like things, skin and stuff. But most of it is the organic cold pressed olive oil. And also because my food, when you cook with a lot of oil, your food just soaks it up and you eat all of that like sludge and it goes into your veins and it causes your arteries to be backed up with fat, especially if your diet is really, really poor. And so, yeah, that was probably one of the biggest things that I eliminated as I aged and to be ageless.
Awesome. Yeah, with oil, the thing is that most oils are rancid, so they're dead. And when you consume oils, um, you're basically just consuming like you're basically just consuming a whole bunch of free radicals or whatever. And the you need antioxidants to then fight those and keep you young. So not like it's dead oil. And then like if you're having skin problems, that oil is also going to like clog your pores and do all kinds of other stuff. The reason why coconut oil is really awesome is because it has a very it doesn't turn rancid. You can heat it pretty high and use for cooking and it doesn't turn rancid. So that's why it's a great oil to cook with. Palm oil is actually really healthy. I didn't realize how healthy palm oil was. I thought that it was unhealthy, but Africans use a lot of palm oil and it's actually similar to coconut oil in that like it doesn't turn rancid at very high cooking points, which makes it super healthy. It also has a lot of like really great things for skin and just beauty in it. And I didn't realize that. And I thought that was so interesting because Africans obviously look amazing well into their years. So I was like, so palm oil is great.
I
And
have to try that.
hmm?
I said I have to try that. I know one of the biggest tricks and I just thought of it was instead of cooking a lot of my foods in oil, I'll actually cook it in a little bit of water, like to just saute it. I'll put a little water in the pan and then start cooking it. And actually, once everything starts breaking down, there's enough in there. It's enough liquid in the pan. So that was also another tip that helped me get away from most of the harmful oils.
Yeah. The only time that if I'm gonna fry something, like legit fry something, which is very rare, but like I like plantains sometimes, and I like my plantains fried. Like I don't like them any other way. So if I'm gonna eat plantains and I'm gonna fry them, I only fry them in coconut oil, or else I actually get a reaction. I'll break out afterwards or something because that other oil is kind of dead. So it's just like eating fried food. As far as eliminating, the thing is that I already eliminated so much so early. So it's mostly like no processed foods. I don't drink. I don't do any hard drugs or anything. I don't smoke.
What about like something that pertains to stress or like mindfulness? Did you eliminate? Like I eliminated all the toxic people from my life or something.
Well, yeah, I'm good at that. I'm like, bye. Nice to know you. Yeah, no, I mean, okay, related to the stress, I guess, like with the mindfulness techniques and daily meditation, I definitely was focused on, my mindset, I guess. Like not eliminating negative thoughts, because you can't eliminate negative thoughts, but just learning to train your brain to go to the positive versus going immediately to the negative, because I'd be just like, it'd be like doomsday. Oh my God. The
and like
whole
killing
world.
you.
Like it was just like doomsday all the time. And I think that that's useful because everyone that I've spoken to about, longevity and staying ageless and stuff, they always seem to have a very positive outlook on life.
Mm-hmm.
And so that, I guess, negative thinking and like, that's an ongoing process, I think, for me in general. But I do think that the mindfulness techniques help, and also what you eat does help too. I do notice that if I eat stuff that agitates me, like, that also doesn't make things any better. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, those are good things, guys. I know we get more in detail in our class, and just really adding good practices, because I don't think it's ever good to like clean your plate of all these things and then have nothing to add. It makes you more susceptible to going back to bad habits. And I know for me, especially when I eliminate the foods, I had to like pack it in there with things that were really healthy, whole foods that I enjoyed. Else I'd be right back on the line at Popeyes or something trying to get a biscuit. And
Popeyes.
if you're there, it's okay too. Like,
We
that's my
respect the
story. I lost.
Popeyes people. You guys can do what you got to do,
I'm sorry. But
but
I know I was 65 pounds overweight, and I was in finance. So I had clients all over the state, and I ate a ton of processed and fast foods, and that contributed to me gaining so much weight during that time. So I would eat Popeyes, or I would go to Rita's Ice and just get one of those like huge super sugary drinks. So there was a short period in my life, like I said, where I was overweight. So I understand where if you're starting at ground zero with this and you haven't even thought about having a plant-based diet, thought about any of these type of ageless techniques, then I get where you're at. So it's no judgment when it comes to the Popeyes comment. I'm just saying
yeah.
I know how it is. And for me, the only reason I've been able to keep it off now for almost 10 years will be next month is because I was strategic about putting all these healthy habits into my life. So I took out Popeyes and I added like quinoa, or I watched a healthy cooking show, or I followed somebody like a Sosa online. That's what got me over the hump. So no judgment to the Popeyes peeps.
Yeah, no, we love the Popeyes piece. We just feel like definitely, y'all, definitely research where Popeyes is getting that chicken. That's all I would say. Where is your Popeyes coming from? And then in addition to that, what I really love about the human body is just the more I study it, the more you realize it's a miracle. Like basically the body can basically regenerate itself and revitalize your entire being. So even if right now you're in the midst of a fast food frenzy, go watch Super Size Me. Okay. Start there. And then, after you digest that whole Super Size Me thing and you start thinking about whatever, just slowly start introducing stuff and until you've eliminated that fast food. The problem with the fast food and with a lot of these processed food is that they're man-made and they are made to trigger you to eat more. They put a lot of salt and a lot of sugar to mask the fact that a lot of these foods don't have any flavor. And that's the one thing that I find so disturbing. Like the man-made food, which isn't real food, like the crackers and all this stuff that's man-made with all the salt and stuff on it, is less expensive than real food, which is the organic fruits and the vegetables and all that stuff. So if you're spending $1 and you're getting an entire meal, that might indicate to you that you are eating that. Like think about how you're valuing yourself, and is your health only worth $1? I try to turn it on its head, because people are like, oh, I want to get that cheap whatever, and it's like, well, is your health only worth that? Because when your medical bills come in and they're thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, you're going to wish that you invested a little bit more money up front than that dollar, to get a better meal. Now, if you're dealing with like economic situation, you can't afford it, that's a whole other ball of wax, because it's all about then manifesting other options for yourself. Can I find a farmer's market? Or how can I can I get a food share? Like But you will be surprised that even just having the desire to eat healthier, you will find a way somehow. I know it's hard, and sometimes some people live in areas where there's nothing, and so I completely feel for that because that's not fair. But at the same time, I think that you have to, they're relying on us to not take ownership of our health. So you have to take ownership and say, I want to eat healthy and I'm going to find a way no matter what I have to do.
Yeah. I love how you said that. That's such a good point. Is your health only worth $1? I have to use that
You know what I'm saying?
because
Like, girl, are you a dollar meal or are you a 15?
I know, like I'm a dollar meal.
I am not
No,
a dollar meal, okay?
no dollar. No, and I think too, with that point, when you look at the intention behind something, I think as I've aged, I'm really focused on what is someone's motivation behind what they're trying to sell me or, whatever. And the motivation behind a cheap meal like that, or the motivation behind a lot of big business producing all these mass quantities of food that are unhealthy is profits. And it's not your health. So if the focus is on the dollar, then they're going to find the cheapest ways to raise chickens and cut their nutritional needs and store them together and make them have horrible, situations. They're going to find the cheapest ingredients to put in your food. They're going to do everything to cut corners to make sure that they have a profit, and they're not thinking about our health. And so
Yeah.
you can take that back just by choosing things that are whole, choosing things that aren't processed. So yeah, that's a good point, girl. I'm not a dollar meal.
No, girl, I am not a dollar meal. But the other thing is, like you were saying, with the whole fast food and the intention, the thing that I think people are starting to, well, I mean, I think they've always realized it, but it becomes very evident in a lot of these documentaries, like What the Health and stuff, is that way of thinking in terms of profit and the quick dollar and like the growing the chickens quick, it translates into how they treat the people too, which is why there's all these issues with how their employees are being exploited. You're exploiting the people in the neighborhoods where the chickens are being made or the pigs are being, it just becomes, the whole energy of the entire thing becomes a giant, exploitation wheel that just can't stop. So it's like, as you're going to go join this whole system of like exploitation, it's like, do I want to be a part of this? I mean, for me, it's like, I don't even want to be a part of that kind of energy in terms of like, I'm going to put my money and join this cycle of exploitation. Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah.
I think that,
Well,
I think that was good. If you guys have questions, we're gonna try to do more live with Asosa and I. So, or not live because we're not live now, but we're gonna try to chat with you guys.
Go live.
We tried. But I would love if you guys have questions, like to leave them under the video, or just reach out to us and let us know what you want us to answer and talk about when it comes to staying ageless. And I always think, it's something that if you make the investment now, if you take our class, read up about it, write the books, do all these things now, you can save yourself so much time and energy later. And everyone always says to me who is like resisting being healthy, they're like, oh, well, we're all going to die anyway, and whatever. Yeah. But I think when it comes to that, it's like, okay, we're gonna die, but do you want to not be able to walk in your older age? Do you want to have a poor quality of life, right?
Yeah.
And so
seriously,
staying ageless is like,
you want to be diabetic and have your leg amputated, or do you want to be like skipping up the stairs? I choose skipping. Do you?
And you can. We have that choice. Like, you can make that choice now, and we talk a lot about that in our course, and I think it's just so important. So if you guys have some questions, please let us know. We would love to answer them on the next time we try to go live or do a Zoom video.
Awesome, guys. So if you are wanting to enroll, we have a bunch of people that have already enrolled. Thank you to everybody who's in the class. It just started this past weekend. You can go to rawbeautyinabox.com under courses, go to Staying Ageless 30 Plus, and you will be able to preview the curriculum to see what we have going on there and sign up. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye.